I'm going to read you something, just a quick line here. For a moment, our nation can breathe. It was a tweet to 500,000 people from a man whose name will tell you a lot about how he feels today. Martin Luther King III, longtime human rights advocate, son of Martin Luther King Jr., joins us now to talk about today's verdict. Mr. King, you know the history, you know the backdrop better than most. How do you measure the magnitude of this moment?
So in terms of measuring the magnitude, we looked at the nation come together from the president making a statement to the vice president and the first lady, and of course, the Speaker of the House and all the leadership in Congress. What this means could be monumental. It certainly is monumental in the sense that a conviction occurred of this verdict that everyone saw, but we really just didn't know for sure what was going to happen. So we first take a sigh of relief. Now the work really begins. The Senate has to pass the George Floyd, Policing Act as a first step. I think there are many other things that have to be done. For example, there have to be police officers hired from communities where people are. We have oftentimes the policemen, police communities, and they really have no stake. They're not stakeholders in the community. I think finally, this is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. We should have addressed these issues many years ago, but now is the time. And this case perhaps will set that tone. So
I'm glad you mentioned all that, because you're right. For this to be more than just a fleeting moment in time, you're going to have to find proof that it's more than that. How likely is that to happen? Because again, you have the benefit of decades of experience seeing these battles fought again and again. How hopeful, how likely are we to see change, real transformative change?
Well, I think what is good is we do have a different administration in Washington that is dedicated, determined, and I think that we can depend on. That's a very good thing. A Justice Department that can help us to hold police departments accountable. We have young people who are going to continue to be engaged. We have to continue to be vigilant. This, as I said, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So I feel positive, I will say. But I think we have to evaluate. For example, there are 4 more officers that are going to be tried, and we must see how that happens. That will tell us a lot about what happens in the future.
I'd like to end on a personal note, if I could. You know, you and I, we actually had a chance to talk earlier today before the verdict was rendered, and we talked about your father. I'm curious to know, in his fight for justice and in your upbringing in that fight, what is it about all of that that resonates the most for you today?
I think probably the thing that resonates most is that when you stay vigilant, there can be victories. And you may not win every time, but victory and this kind of, feeling of a victory gives you the inspiration to keep, to stay on the battlefield in a positive way. Now, it is a battlefield. It is not an easy task. And Dad taught us how to consistently engage through love and peace and nonviolence. And I hope that's always the case, and that's the way I always approach things. Again, had this case gone differently, I have no idea what would have happened in this nation. I have ideas of what could have happened, but I'm so thankful that today was a victorious day and a conviction.
Martin Luther King III, thank you for your time today.